I'll go ahead and talk about the card choices and the deck list and the card choices now. So we'll start off with the full suite of Dragon Balls. I don't really need to explain this too much. They all provide the utility and extra win condition, so that was too good for me to pass up. I'll talk about the board cards, the non-Dragon Ball board cards. 3 Slumber. I listed in my ARG questionnaire that this was the MVP card of my deck. A lot of you were like, probably no Command's the MVP card of your deck. No, this is not the MVP card of my deck. This is what I use to get to Command quite often, and all my other good cards in my deck, and it just put in so much work all day. This was the MVP card of my deck. Right. 2 VTPs, very good. Everybody knows. Dragon Radar tutors the Dragon Ball. 3 power-ups. There's a pretty good loop on level 3. You all know about this. Ends combat. If you have 1 in play and then 1 in the discard, you can loop them and just keep milling your opponent 3 cards every turn. So yeah, very good. 3 Black Declaration. Some people play 2. I play 3. I really like the ability to shuffle back a Dragon Ball. It's like a safety net card for a Dragon Ball, like so that you can actually play your Dragon Ball without being too much at risk. And then there's also a really cool interaction with the level 2. If you have a Declaration in play and Roshi level 2, you can return this to hand with level 2, block an attack, and then discard it. And make your opponent discard an attack. So you blocked 1, they've -1, and you still have the Declaration to use again next combat. And you're not even really using the Declaration for its real effect. You're only using it for the discard, the bounce back and forth effect with this guy. Creates a lot of card advantage. So that's good. I did that all day. 3 Black Searching Techniques. Again, another one that a lot of people play too. I chose to max out on it because it's a card that neuters your opponent's deck, and there are too many cards that are I want to get rid of in this meta. So 3 was the right number. Black Spoonless Drill. This card is so good. It's always been good in black since the days of Black Krillin and it being at 3. I love it because you can sculpt your hand with it and always just have card advantage in combat. A lot of people are like, you're a deck that level, so it's just gonna discard pile, but you can bounce it with Roshi's powers and then play it back. Or with level 3, you can just put it back in play after combat ends. This is the tech choice that I was talking about, Black Obstructing Drill. I started playing this when Set 6 was released, and I saw that Tim Bateau topped with he won the event with Tag Gohan. This card shuts off 8 allies in Tim Bateau's deck. So I didn't play against one of his decks, but like if I played against it, I just like tutor this somehow and just like leave it there and like try like I don't know. I'd probably Searching Technique or Scout Maneuver his Betrayal so that he just doesn't have an out to this, and then play a game where like he can't use his powers. And this is also very good versus 813. I mainly play this against them to shut off Nappa and Android 20 ally. The other allies are not too problematic, but it still helps to shut them off. Why not? But in the top 8 match against TJ, this shut off a A20 ally, and it stopped a crit against me, which was pretty good. So it provided a lot of value. Alright guys, so I'll talk about the attacks now. I played 3 Black Overhead Burst. This card was really good. It's Burst Anger, it's 2 Anger. It does 6 in 1 with a Mastery. If it hits, you can discard a card to use a critical damage effect, so that's really clutch to take back one of these. It can crit an ally, it can lower anger, which is all pretty good. It can discard a Black Command or a Black Declaration. both of which what you want to do. So this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I played 3 Black Defensive Burst. And Black Defensive Burst is just so amazing right now. I only played 2 in Virginia. I upped this to 3 after Virginia. Every one of the new meta decks, Cooler, Broly, and 813 run a ton of physicals. So more than likely, when you use this, you're going to shut off more than one attack into combat. So it's great. 2 Black Swirl. This is another great card. If it hits its Burst Anger, it's 2 Anger. You name a card, they can't use that card in the combat. So this is really good when on level 3 and you can just see their hand and call whatever's in their hand. If you're not on level 3, you have to play it a little smart and call either what card's the most devastating against you at the time, or call something that would prevent you from advancing your game plan. Sometimes you call a block so that this will hit, or your next few attacks will hit. And you can gain anger if you call a lock. So, 2 Master Roshi's Backstrike. I don't need to talk that much about this card. This just tutors every other card in the deck. It's so good. It's limited to 2. It should be limited to 1. 2 Sinister Choke. This card is amazing. A lot of people dropped it because they said that there are not a lot of board decks right now, but look what was in the finals at this event, so maybe you should put this back in your deck. But I still play this card because it's unpreventable. 6-1 with the Mastery. If it hits, it can capture back one of the Dragon Balls, which can come in handy, and just a lot of damage. So great. 2 Wallbreaker. I think this is the right number for Wallbreaker. A lot of people play 1 of this. I think 2 is needed because pretty much every deck in the format right now wants to level, and their main resource for leveling is anger, so this slows them down. A lot of people say it's a band-aid, but I think it's a good band-aid. Like, it will slow them down just enough so that you can win the game. Pesky Barrage. This card is amazing. Since I'm a week on level 4, under 500k power level, I can use this twice, and it does a lot of base damage. Outside of Wallbreaker and Wall 2, I don't have that many anti-anger, anti-leveling cards, so this is the only one. So I really like this card. The second one of attack is Black Capture. Black Capture is amazing. I almost played this at 3 at one point in the initial testing of the deck. It's so good in the passive game plan if you have the stuck on them and then you are both of you are passing. It's banishing 2 every cycle. And this is amazing on level 3 with the power-up loop. Basically, you're milling your opponent 3 every turn, and then also banishing off the top of their deck every turn. And the last one of attack that I played is Blinding Energy Move. Blinding Energy Move is very, very good. This is a card that I played at 2 in Virginia, and I never played it before there. I think it's very good in this meta because there are a lot of hyper-aggressive decks, so you need to get out of combat as much as possible. This is pretty much the 4th copy of Power Up when you don't have a Power Up, or you don't want to use your Power Up, or your Power Up is shut off by like a Nappa or something. This is the 4th copy they'll bail you out. I did a lot of cool things that are also possible with Power Up and Dragon Balls, where you stack Dragon Balls, stack 2 cards on top, and then 1 or 2 Dragon Balls, and then Blinding Energy Move, and then just draw the Dragon Balls. So I really like this at 1 over 2 because at 2 there are often times when you have this card and you just don't want to use it. You want the combat to be longer, but at 1, I think that was a good number because you can just stack it with the Slumber or search it with the Backstrike when needed. So that's it. And next I will talk about the blocks in the deck. I run 3 Black Resistance. This is the only energy specific block I run. It's The one I chose because it has 3 endurance, and it does raise your anger one, but mainly for the endurance over Black Corruption, because there's only maybe 15 or 16 instances of endurance total in this deck, so I need to have that balance, so that's why I ran it. And this is a card that at just one instance it doesn't prevent that much value, but over a bunch of different instances it generates a lot of mileage in your deck. And Black Knee Catch, this is the physical version of Black Resistance. It has less endurance, but it has 1 more anger, and in a physical heavy meta, it's a very good block. 2 Black Delay. I love this card so much. I almost played 3 of this. I would consider putting it to 3 actually. For those of you that don't know what it does, it stops a physical attack, and if the physical attack was a physical combat card, it returns to the hand. Then on a separate sentence, your opponent discards a random card from their hand. So what that means is if you throw this against an MP power attack, since they can't return a hand, they don't return a card to hand, so they just discard a card. So you block an attack and they lose a card, which is amazing. One interesting thing with this card is against the Wall Breaker. Wall Breaker is also pretty useful against this deck. It slows me down a lot, especially if they put me on a level that they don't want me on for against their deck. So this can bounce a Wall Breaker back to hand when they use it, and then sometimes there's a chance of them discarding the same Wall Breaker. So, and it has 1 endurance, which is good. Playful Punch. A lot of you are about to say that, wait, this is not a block, this is an attack. But the reason I have it in my blocks category is I barely use it as an attack. There are so many good freestyle attacks in the game right now that I always want to hold this as a block for them. There are MP powers that you can use this on, and I want to point out specifically Cooler Supernova. This is the outside of resistance and time. This is the only thing that I can use to stop it, because there's on Cooler Supernova you can't prevent damage, so I can't use my powers. So I would want this against that. And Time as a Warrior's Tool is the last block. And lastly, I'll go over the events in my deck, outside of Time, which is also an event, I guess. But Confrontation. This is a card that's really, really good in this deck, both as the attacker and as the defender. The reason why I love this card so much is because of Slumber, the ability to just stack it when you need it. I think this card is very underrated on defense. A lot of people think that this is a very good offensive card, but it's not that great of a defensive card. I think it's even better as a defensive card. If you get entered on, a lot of times your opponent has a game plan when they enter on you, and then using one of these or using the swirl really ruins that game plan. So I love it on defense even more than I love it on offense. 2, Defiant Challenge. Defiant Challenge is so good. I only played this at 1 up until this event. I was very scared of my opponent tutoring their named attack, and me not being able to empty out their hand before them using it, before me using this card and them tutoring the attack. But I reanalyzed the named attacks in this format, and the only 2 that I'm really afraid of them tutoring are Cooler Supernova and Krillin's Destructo Disc. So the rest of them I can pretty much play around. So I think 2 is an amazing number, and this is basically the 3rd and 4th copy of Backstrike. And I mentioned earlier that there's a way you can recur Pesky Barrage, or I might not have mentioned it, but yeah. So Pesky Barrage is banished after use, so you can't stack it with Ball 7 or Rejuve it after use. But this can get it back from the banish zone and put it back in your deck, and then also search for it. So this is like the 2nd and 3rd copy of Pesky Barrage as well. And Black Scout Maneuver. This is a card that I did not play in Virginia, and I highly regretted it. Kelly got me back on this card. There are so many. This is basically the 4th copy of Black Searching Technique, and there are just so many cards that I am afraid of in this meta. So I wanted to like just hit 3 copies of them. So this is great. Against 813, I would use it on like Impenetrable Defense. Against Cooler Supernova in the Mirror, Black Command. So it can't hit setups, but it can hit the energy, physical, and event cards. So it's good. I like it at 1. And finally, the last card everyone is mad about right now is Black Command. I'm not going to talk too much about this because everyone knows what it does. Everyone knows what it did for this deck. But I will address one thing about it. Everyone complains about how this is such a passive card. You just draw it and discard down, gain anger, shuffle in, draw it again. I think it's not only a passive card, it's both a passive and an aggressive card. And let me give you an example here. So, say you have command, a declaration. It can be any setup. Command, a setup, and 2 attacks. Let's just say like defensive burst and capture. That's it. So, and let's say you are on level 1 Roshi with 1 or 2 anger, right? So you can, looking at this hand, you might say, all right, I'll put this down, discard the capture, shuffle this in, gain 2 anger, and then that's it. But actually, relook at this hand, this is a good hand to enter on. The reason being, you can enter, either pass or throw like the capture first or the defensive burst first, and then if they block this attack, then they'll attack. So you probably don't want to throw this first. You want to throw this first, or you want to pass. So they might throw an attack, use the power. You go to 3 anger, 3 anger or 4 anger. You discard this for the mastery level. So go to Roshi level 2. They discard a card, and you have this in play. So you've knocked down a card from their hand. They've thrown an attack, so now they're down to 2 cards usually, and now you have 2 attacks and 1 additional block with Master Roshi's 2. So now you've created a situation where you can create like a pretty huge swing right there by using the power on their next attack and bouncing this and then attacking with these 2. So that's aggressive. That's not passive. That's an instance where it's good as an aggressive card. Another instance is where say you're on level 2 and you want to go to level 3 and put a setup in play. A lot of times, like, you don't want to just discard a command. Command does gain you 3 anger on level 2, as opposed to 2 because of the shuffle of this. A lot of times you want to be able to put a power up VTP or slumber in play. So, but you can't if you just discard down and level. So what you got to do is you got to enter and then level mid combat, get to this, and then at the end of combat put a setup in place. So advancing your game plan in combat is also an option with capture as opposed to just passively using it. I wanted to address that a little bit. That's pretty much it for the deck and my tournament experience. I hope you guys enjoyed listening, and please subscribe to Dragon Ball Radio. There's a lot of great content on it. We just did a podcast with David Fashbinder and myself. It was really insightful, so you should check that out. And thanks for watching.